But I'm looking at you.
Yeah.
Right?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. This is The Ship with Darren Smith, and we are live. We are live here from Radio Row, day 2 of Radio Row, and we're here live at the Convention Center in Los Angeles, California. Of course, it is the site of Super Bowl 56 this Sunday, featuring the Cincinnati Bengals instead of Kansas City Chiefs. And of course, the Los Angeles Rams. With me today, I have former Buck Center and best-selling author, Mr. Randy Grimes.
Oh, I
Randy,
like the ring. That sounds so good.
it,
Best-selling author.
that's what we do for our people. We give you the Steve Harvey treatment. But
I love it.
first of all, thank you so very much. I know this is probably, I think, the 4th or 5th year that
I
we've
always
spoken
enjoy
to,
being here with you.
and
Thank you
I
very much.
appreciate it very much.
You always outdress me, though. But you
Well,
outdress everybody, so
I was told I have a brand, so I have to do that. Trust me,
it's working.
as much as I wanted to, just come natural, I have to wear a suit
It's
every day
working
now.
for
So
you, man.
appreciate it very much. Well, tell our audience why you're here at Radio Row this week, and then we'll dive into everything.
Well, and this is my 13th consecutive year. I've been here talking about athletes in recovery and the work that I do at proathletesinrecovery.org. I've always wanted to be that bridge between players that are out there struggling and resources for, and I say struggling, I'm talking about struggling with substance abuse and mental health issues, and not just players, our former players, but anybody that's out there. I mean, this is a disease that affects the entire community. It's a leading cause of death for people 18 to 45, and it affects everybody, as you know, in every community. So, we can't get out and talk enough about it because that only reduces a stigma that keeps people from raising their hand and asking for help.
Start a little bit of background because you're from the place where our starting quarterback, Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes is
That's
from.
right. That's right.
Tyler, Texas. So how did you, tell us about your journey to get to the NFL?
Well, I mean, it started, football was religion in Tyler,
Still
Texas, and Deepey's, Texas. That's right. And I was fortunate enough to be able to go anywhere in the old Southwest Conference that I wanted to. It was Arkansas, Texas, Texas Tech, Rice, SMU. I chose Baylor, and best decision I ever made in my life. I was able to play for the great Grant Teff. Met my wife the very first day, our freshman year. We got married after our junior year. So things were going great. There was no indication of what lied ahead for me. I had a great college career. I was drafted in the second round by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They didn't have a first round pick that year because they had traded it away for the year before. So I was treated like their first round pick. I got to play with great people like Leroy Selman and Hugh Green and the great John McKay, Coach John McKay. And, but the bad thing about it, they had just gone to the playoffs the year before I got there in '82. So I thought I was going to a playoff contender. Little did I know what was going to happen over the next 10 years and that we would go through 5 different head coaches in my 10 years there, 6 different offensive line coaches, 10 different quarterbacks, 2 different general managers. And, we were a revolving door of players, coaches, front office people. And how are we ever supposed to win like that? To have a new playbook thrown in front of you every couple of years. And what I never thought, I was that guy who, well, I'll tell you this. I'll start with this. I had a locker next to Leroy Selman my rookie year. And the first thing I learned from Leroy was that football was no longer a game. It was now a job. And the second thing I learned from him was you do whatever you have to stay out on that field because you don't ever get that reputation as always being hurt, always being on the injury report, always back in the training room. Yeah. And what Leroy didn't mean was that throw down handfuls of pain pills, but that's what I eventually did because I was that guy who was willing to do whatever I had to stay out on that field. And that meant taking handfuls of pain pills and practicing through the injuries, playing through the injuries, and not letting anybody else get in my position.
A lot of people would think that when you talk about painkillers, now obviously back in that time, early, late 70s, early 80s, you might, what do you consider? What would be considered painkillers now versus by what you took back
Well,
then?
I'm talking about Vicodin, Percocets, anything you could get your hands on there that was an opiate or a painkiller back then. But not just opiates, but also benzodiazepines. We had a drug back then called Halcyon, which was kind of like the granddaddy of what Xanax is now. And I was taking that to get to sleep through the the nagging injuries and throbbing pain at night. So not only was there an opiate addiction going on, there was also a benzodiazepine addiction too.
When people think about it, and obviously at a professional stage, you have money, you have access that maybe regular people, or addicts may not be able to get to. But was it something common that you all could get from the team doctors at that time, or did they like maybe send you off to someone, or the doctors that you went to prescribed it to you, that where you had to keep going, coming back and back and back for more?
Well, no, I played back in a mentality, kind of, I call it like the North Dallas 40 mentality, where you took that injection if it kept you on the field.
Yeah.
You threw down that handful of pills if it kept you out on the field, and they were readily available. I mean, I was getting them from team doctors, I was getting them from team trainers, and we had an open drug safe that was in the middle of the training room. So if you didn't get it from the doctor or the trainer, you just go get it yourself. But that was the mentality back then. You do what you have to stay out on the field. And, one of the things that I'm most proud about is, since I started Athletes in Recovery back 12 and a half years ago, is that there's more accountability in the way that NFL dispenses narcotics now. There's more accountability in the concussion protocols. And I like to think that our advocacy and the work that we've done has helped promote that. Now there's a mental health professional at every facility. And those are the kind of things that I'm proud of. And the NFL has gotten the message, and they've progressed too.
Talk to us about Off Center. I know for people, drops today, I believe, of February
today's
9th.
the release date.
Talk to us. What made you want to turn around? Decide to put your life story into a book.
Well,
and where people, and I'm sorry, before we go for, where can people go to get it?
I want to
make sure,
that's important, right?
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to make it all mean something. That's why I started Pro Athletes in Recovery. I wanted to make everything that I'd been through and everything that I'd put my family through and all the destruction and everything with my finances and my reputation and all that. I wanted to make it mean something. So that's why I started Pro Athletes in Recovery. But I also wanted to write it down. I wanted to get it out there. I wanted my story to be in front of as many people as I could, because that's the kind of thing that helps reduces the stigma, and that's the kind of thing that helps people have the courage to put up their hand and ask for help. Because my message today is that it's okay to not be okay, but you have to reach out for help. And so it's my story out of, I call it my journey out of darkness into the light. And the beautiful thing about this book is that everybody in my family had a platform in it. They were part of it, and it was a healing process for the Grimeses and my family. But it's, I wrote it parallel with an intervention that I'm doing. Me and my wife are doing. So my story runs parallel with the intervention, and it crosses over a lot. So the book is for everybody, because it shows those that enable, it shows those that are codependent, it shows those that have the stigma about addiction and mental health issues. And there's something for everybody in this book.
I'm glad you said it, because that's where I was going. Obviously, the path that you took, like you said, you met your wife first day of college, freshman year, you got married your junior year, but she was there. I mean, you took her, you took your family through, through the addiction of the painkillers, the alcohol and stuff like that, and she stuck by you. Talk about that. Talk about, obviously, if you want to, if you can, the effect that it had on your personal life by them seeing you go through it, and her standing by your side to make sure that you got through it all.
Well, and I say all the time, and it's even in the book, she's the real hero of the story. My family is the real hero of the story. They're the ones that had to suffer through it. They're the ones that had to get educated on addiction and learn how to treat people with it. And I'm so proud of them. And my wife now is a family recovery coach, and she works with a lot of former players' wives, and because she's been there, she's been to those deep, dark places that addiction takes us. So I'm so proud of that. But I put my family through hell. I put my finances through hell. I put my reputation and my everything through hell, and it was all because of the insanity of addiction. And my family is the real hero of this whole book.
Got to ask you this, of course. Last year, your former team beat the team I cover. Still a little salty about that last year. Did not realize. Look, if nobody knew how valuable an offensive line was, I can assure you, last year's game proved it. Of course, obviously you were going with the Bucs. I was going with the Chiefs, but this year your team lost out to the Rams. The team I covered, the Chiefs, lost out to the Cincinnati Bengals. Give me your thought process on Sunday's game. How you think it's going to go?
Well, I'm such an NFC guy. I'm so biased because I'm such an NFC guy, and also the fact that they knocked the Bucs out. I've got to stick with them. But when I watch a football game, I watch those individual battles up front between the offensive and defensive line, and I just don't see Cincinnati being able to stop that front seven with the Rams. It's such a tough defensive line and linebacker group. It's going to be tough to not get that young kid rattled, and he could surprise me. These young quarterbacks here lately.
Everybody can see. I can tell you that much.
There you go.
Not once or twice.
But I think it's a different story this week with that front seven from the Rams. They're tough, man, and even their offensive line. Rams' offensive line looks really good. I'm really impressed with that.
Is there a particular matchup that you that you're going to focus on? I know you're a lineman. I know you may look at the trenches to see how they protect, but is there a skill position that you might watch out for?
Nah, I'm a line guy, man. I watch those battles up there. I love the guys in the trenches. I don't care about all those those prima donnas out there.
I've got to ask because I've heard stories, but back in your day when you were playing, obviously in the trenches, what were some of your secrets, or what were some of the worst things that when people hear about, like, oh, I can't believe it, did you used to bite somebody's finger, or give them a gut shot or something where it wasn't actually a gut shot? I mean, what?
Well, everything was legal back then. Head slapping and even the way they could club up their arms and make weapons. Out of their arms. I can remember getting head slapped by Randy White. And I mean, time and time again, and eventually you start seeing stars and Michael Carter, Joe Klecko, some of those really tough nose guards, that because anything went back then.
Yeah.
And man, head slaps that was part of the business.
All right. Well, you got a score for Sunday's game?
I don't have a score, no, but I do think the Rams are going to take it.
Blowout or close game?
It could be a blowout.
Okay, I like that. And just so you know, just because the Bengals beat the Chiefs,
depends on Stafford,
doesn't mean I'm actually going with the Rams on Sunday. That's where my money's going. So that's
Okay. I think it's a good pick.
All right. Well, look, Randy, let people know once again the website they can go to not only for recovery.
Well, you can find the book Off Center on Amazon. So go to Amazon.com or go to offcenterthebook.com, and you can find me at proathletesinrecovery.org or whitesandstreatment.com. And, of course, I'm on all social media, Instagram, Twitter, SoberCenter60, and then Facebook and, all the LinkedIn, all the usual stuff. Right, if you can't find me, you're not looking.
I know that's right. Randy, thank you very much. Thank you.
You're the best, man.
I appreciate it. I appreciate
it.
We'll be right back after this timeout. You're listening to The Ship here.
Thinking about a career in law enforcement? The Lincoln University Law Enforcement Training Academy is the only one of its kind. A semester-long evening program focused on diversity and learning how to handle the biggest issues facing law enforcement officers today. We train recruits to be community-oriented police officers. You'll graduate with confidence, ready to meet the needs of our communities. Located in Jefferson City, Missouri. Learn more at lincolnu.edu. The big game is fast approaching. As you plan for the big game and do your shopping, remember, sauces and seasonings stand as our unique signature products that add flavor and excitement to all your meals, including salads and dips. For that unmistakable taste, buy Gates. It's a Kansas City tradition. Visit us on the web at GateQ, shipping all over the world. Hi, may I help?